I am a creative person. I have always been knee-deep in some kind of craft. And that paired with being a procrastinator, maybe it's just the human experience that I'm suffering from, but if I don't complete a project within the first 4 days of starting it, it is very rare for me to complete that project. And I've done the terrible thing of promising somebody something. And it is just a gift, so if it never happens, it's fine. But then I'll have my whole life to think about not doing it. So I'm trying very hard to complete this. What is that project, you're asking? I told my sister I would make her a quilt. She's been wanting a quilt for a very long time, and I have the means. I have the means up here as well to do it. And quilts can be expensive, and she's totally good with paying for a quilt, but I wanted to make her one. So what I'm looking at constantly is the squares. I think I've done the hard work. It was fun. It was very difficult. I think I've done the hard part, and so that's why I'm recording it starting now. Because as long as I have the hard part done, I think this will be, well, now I'm just lying to myself. I think I'm actually in the hard part, because maybe that's why I'm recording, because I'm procrastinating. I have a design, I'll put it up here. This is the rough design that I'm going for. I'm doing 4x4 small squares and then 8x8 bigger squares. I have lists of the things I need. I have a list upstairs, but this is what the list consists of. So I need roughly 616 pattern squares, 616 of these squares, and then 672 white squares, or just 672 times 8 square feet of fabric. I'm a very visual person. Nothing will make sense until it's complete, or until I have it in my little tiny fingers. We've got the squares cut out of the pattern pieces. I have them labeled with what rows they're going in, because it's going to be 8x8, and then a bunch of 4x4 rows and columns until the center is I think it would be 12x8 or something like that. 12 inches by 8 inches of just a patterned center, or something like that. What I wanted to get started today is the next piece in this whole anthology, and that is making the rows. I think this will be some of the fun parts is doing this, because I think that's it. The math is done for now. Now I just get to sew. Fun enough.
Fun to an extent. The fun part is doing what I think is right, and then it became not fun when I realized that I didn't do it right. I didn't do it wrong, I just didn't do it right, but that's fine. There I'm pointing I'm pointing at the math that I've done. The math is fine. It's just, in terms of quilting, it's not helpful. It was math that will be useful, but it's also partly incorrect. By the end of this quilting session, I have figured out what I need to change in my math for it to work. So it ends up being 100% fine, especially since this is just squares. I'm not doing any fancy pattern shapes or anything like that. It's just squares. They just get sewn together with the straight stitch. That's it. Nothing fancy whatsoever. So I've set myself up for success when it comes to finishing this project at least. Is it going to be seamless? No. Is it going to be the best thing I've ever made? Yeah, it probably will be, but not in a craftsmanship style, more so like running a big race. Maybe I'll finish last, but I ran the race, which is incredible. And if you haven't noticed, this is not a tutorial whatsoever. Maybe eventually I'll get to that point where I have the idea in my head. I know exactly how it's going to turn out, maybe because I've done it before or because maybe I'm following a pattern. But in this case, this is me just having you guys tag along on this journey of making something this big, this dedicated. I had a personal epiphany about 3 weeks or so ago, and ever since then I have been following through with things that I say I'm gonna do. I've been trying to be more on time. I've been trying to stay in budget. I've been setting boundaries with myself. It's been amazing, and that's partially where this YouTube channel comes into play, and personal growth and personal happiness and personal creativity that I think I've been missing out on for the past 2 or so years. But Aunt Sissy is back. She is ready to sew her life away. She's ready to dumpster dive. She's ready to garden until she can't any longer. And so that is what I plan on doing. And thank you for tagging along. So I have completed the first, I'm going to try to put a picture up. I'm going to put a picture up here. And so I have the outline of the small 4x4 pattern pieces. And then I thought, okay, I should do the longest one first, so then that's done and over with. But then I'm thinking about it, and you don't really start projects from the outside. You start from the inside, and then you work your way out. So I have what I just showed you, and now I'm going to wrap this up and start on the other end. And I'm gonna get some of that piece done. I would like to get some, this was really fun. This is fun, and it was easy. And this was, like I said, the longest bit that it's going to be. I mean, there's the 8x8, but that's less sewing because it's bigger, it's just longer. So this was the most difficult part, and it was fun. But starting on the inside is best because I can't do anything with this stuff. Because from my experience, my tiny experience with quilt, I have no experience with quilting. My tiny experience with sewing in general is you either start from the inside and work out, like when you're making a quilt block or if you're making a tote bag. I mean, you don't put the handles on before you build the bottom. Same kind of thing, maybe? Or you don't put the... Would you put the pocket on before? I think you wouldn't necessarily, technically. I don't know. But what I do know is in this case, with quilting, maybe, you either start from the top down or bottom up, side over, whatever, or you start from the inside and you go out, rather than starting on the perimeter. That doesn't even make any sense. But I had to go through the process to realize that it didn't make any sense. I'm gonna get my piece of paper that has the dimensions, start on the middle, if I have them. I had fried chicken for dinner. It was so good. Fried chicken and like corn on the side, and that was it. Just fried chicken for dinner. And a bunch of water. And I'm gonna take a shower. And I want a Coke so bad. I want a Coke in a can, in a tall can from like the Dollar Tree, like the taller can, you know, like the tall can from and I painted my nails, and so I really just love the feeling. Like, what is it about being a girl
and just having your nails painted and then drinking like something out of a can. Like, what is that? And if I had my rings on and my hair like tucked behind my ears. I love being a girl. I mean, boys can do that. Anybody can do that. But it feels very feminine to me.
This is what I completed at the end of this day. It is the final bit in the middle. This is the centerpiece of the quilt. So basically, I did the outside, should have started on the inside. I completed both in one day. Is that a metaphor? Probably. Somebody else figure it out. Leave it down in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.